Hi, happy Sunday, everyone. This is Tara,
This is Pedro.
and welcome to God is Real and Raw.
Good afternoon, everybody. Or good evening, or good morning. Or as that was good afternoon. It's at that point now. Even in Alabama, was good afternoon. Maybe in California, it'd be good morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
depending on where you are.
yeah. We we just want to say thank you so much for joining us today on the God is Real and Raw. We just want to say we hope that you've all had a good week and it's a good weekend, and as we all get ready for the week coming about, that you all be safe. The weather's getting a little crazy up here in the UK. It gets cold one day, snows, and then it rains and goes all the way.
Yeah,
But hey, we're still here, so thankfully, that's a good thing. Dealing with the weather, the cold, and everything. If you can stay warm, stay warm. We just want to say that to everybody out there. Um, so today we're just gonna get right to it.
wait a minute. How was your week?
My week was, you know how my week was. It was busy, working and
But it's good to talk.
driving. Yeah, driving. All I did was drive everywhere. Did a couple of. I didn't go as far as I've gone last week,
Right.
the week before, but I did do a good amount of driving this week. I stay within like, I'll say within 100-mile radius of the house.
Right.
This time, so that's a good thing compared to
It is.
how far I was traveling before, like
Definitely is.
3 hours, 300 miles away, 250 and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I stay within 100 miles of the house. So I did enjoy myself. Was able to be home most evenings. Got home late a couple of times, but other rest of that, my week has been good. It's been a little, I won't say intense. It's been a little bit debatable. Not even debatable. That's the wrong word. It's just been a little bit of because we've been talking about what we're going to do today,
Right.
this past week. So we've had some very intense conversations and stuff because we had to make sure that we was both on page to do this.
Right.
So,
I
but
think we're
otherwise,
ready.
my week was good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how was your week?
I had a good week. It was good. It was cold, you know, walking in the cold and the snow, but other than that, made it through. So I thank God for that. That's all you can do is just thank God that you made it and had a chance to see another day. So
Okay,
I'm really happy about that.
and the kids were fine. I know the
Yeah,
kids were good.
yeah, they were.
Yeah, they're
Hmm.
good kids.
They are.
Yeah, always trying to stay home every morning. Can I stay home?
And you able to go to church this weekend
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did go to church
for the
finally.
first
Our
time.
town, Huddersfield SDA Church, finally opened back their new doors.
Hmm.
It's located over somewhere in Huddersfield. I don't even know the exact address, but I do know how to get there.
That's the main
And
thing.
yeah, and yeah, we did open up. It was nice to go and see the church members
Right.
for the first time in some years, about 2 years maybe.
Hmm.
Been so long, I can't remember how long it's been. But yeah,
It's
we
been a
went to
while
see.
for sure.
Yeah, you wasn't feeling up to par, so you stayed home.
Yeah.
But we ended up going to church, me and the kids. Um, it was a little not awkward. It was just I think everybody was just trying to get used to being around everybody again.
Right.
So it was kind of like everybody was just like, um, hey Tina. Everybody was just trying to. Oh, Bradley. Okay, yeah. You just gotta see something. Isn't Bradley?
All right.
Okay, isn't Bradley?
Hi, Tina. Thank you for tuning in with us today.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. Like I said, I think everybody was just trying to feel each other out because like you don't want to hug because you haven't seen him for so long, but you can't hug, so you like arm bumping and fist
Right.
bumping and yeah. So it was really good though. I did enjoy the service.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then that's about on that side. And you said your week was good besides walking in the cold because I had to leave a couple of mornings early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're spoiled.
I am, and you
You're
know what?
spoiled.
I
You
love
like
it.
me to take him to school.
Especially when the weather is not great. So
Pick
yeah.
him up. You'd be like, oh yeah, oh yeah. You ain't trying to walk. You're like, oh, I gotta walk. Even Kai be like, oh, daddy can't take us. So
I know,
no.
right?
So that's how that go. But anyway, yeah, you guys have to get a little exercise this week.
Yeah,
Exercise is good for the
it
soul.
is. It is.
Yeah,
It had
opens
my
up
heart and everything
exactly.
burning.
Opens up the lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. So, like I said, we want to pray first, and
Yes,
then
we're going
we'll
to pray
go.
first before we start.
Okay,
You want to go ahead?
you pray.
Okay. Lord, thank you so much for this day. Lord, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to share our testimony with people that's going to be watching and listening to this broadcast. I'm asking you, God, to be with me and Pedro. Give us the words to say and allow your spirit to just flow through this broadcast, Lord, and bless someone. Thank you, Lord, for your love and your grace in our lives, Lord. I pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. So we talked about. So we're going to do a testimony. Mainly Tower.
Both of us.
Both of us, but mainly you.
Right.
And I just want to just give like a disclaimer that throughout this testimony, throughout this conversation that we're about to have, we are going is it may seem tense because there's still emotions involved, and even though Tara and myself are in a better place now
Right.
than we ever have been with God and leading our lives, the devil's side tries to. He's been trying all week.
Mm-hmm.
He's been just messing with Tara, and she didn't want to do this. Should I do it? Should I not do it? What are we going to talk about? Should I talk about this? Should I talk about that? And I told we need to just talk about everything. So we decided that, we're just going to say this in the beginning that, this is experiences of ourselves in our opinion. So we're not counselors. We're not professionals in this subject. We're just talking about what we went through. And I just want to let everybody know listening and watching that even if it seems that we're getting a little emotional, is not we are just it's just because of the subject. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about, well, I'll let Tyler tell you, this is a taboo subject that is not talked about in the church.
It's not.
In the Center Adventist Church. It's not talked about in regular circles. So we just felt that we need to tell the story about our experience and our life that we have gone through. So with that in mind, I turn it over to Tyler.
Hi, guys. I wanted to discuss my experience dealing with abuse and in our marriage. um, so how I'm gonna start this is that when we first got married, when we was dating, I met him, and of course, Pedro is very attractive, so I was very attracted to him.
Thank you.
And as we dated for a while, and for about a course of 6 months, we had a good time. I enjoyed his company. I enjoy spending time with him and all of the wonderful things that you do when you're dating. And one day he asked me to marry him. And I said yes, without a doubt, I did, even though we only known each other for a short time. But I guess at that time, I was just happy where I was. I was happy seeing him. I was happy seeing him in his space. I was happy seeing him. Sorry, I got a phone call came in. I was always used to be happy seeing him and spending time with him. And once we got married,
8 months we was together.
right. So it's more. It's a little bit more than
A little
6
about
months.
7.5.
Right.
Sorry.
No problem. Thank you for correcting me.
I was
But
counting.
but when we got married, I think we was married a couple of months before we just really started to learn each other. And I say I can't even remember exactly. I just know we was a couple of months we was married, everything was going good until one day we had an argument, and this argument just really escalated to where the first time my husband ever raised his hands at me, and I think I was more in shock than anything because I never expected it to happen. I was really just like, where did that come from? Like, you never showed me this when we was dating. I didn't see the red flags. I didn't see everything I probably maybe I was just too in how I felt about him that I didn't notice the different signs I probably needed to see. And sorry, I sound a bit nervous. And the first time he put his hands on me, it was like why? Like why did you do that? And we talked about it. He said he was sorry and everything. And for me, I thought at that time, okay, well maybe that's just the first and last time that would happen. And then it did happen more times after that. And I was just like help Lord, help me figure this out. Help me figure out um, what's going on in my marriage with my husband. And through the whole process of dealing with different things and different changes that was happening, um, I left a lot of times through the process. I was trying to figure out who my husband was, what our marriage was about, and where it was going to go. And it was just a lot of times I was just not happy with who my husband was and who he was showing me who he was. You know, um, we did have a lot of good times in our marriages as well. Um, we spent a lot of time praying together and doing different things, but as I was going through the process of seeing my husband, being this person that I knew he knew he wasn't. I was like, what's happening to the man that I know? Like, why is this happening to me? Why is he displaying a person that I just knew wasn't him? And I was pretty much sad. I was really sad, and it was after um I was sad and crying all the time because I was just not happy where I was in our marriage. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, if I'm going to stay, am I going to go? And I think it's important for anybody that may be experiencing or dating or in your early stages of getting to know someone. I think it's important to get to know who you are with. And I think for me, we didn't have that opportunity. We just kind of jumped right into marriage, jumped, not really getting to know who we were, even though my husband did have a past and was married before, and going into the marriage and then experiencing abuse was just really, it was a hard thing for me to swallow. And I didn't want to go into a whole bunch of um, graphic things, but
No, it's the Real and Raw show.
yeah. But it's a lot of times when it's just like to see him in that way was just hard for me. And I knew when I had my son, my youngest one, my oldest one, sorry, I was like, I can't have my son go see this type of situation going on in our marriage. And so I end up leaving for a while, trying to figure out, um, am I going to continue on with this marriage? And when I decided to come back, and I was like, I just don't, I need time to think, I need time to pray, I need to let God figure out, I need God to show me what I need to do. I never gave up on who my husband could be a good husband for me. I just kept praying and said, Lord, help me through this. Help me get through the times where my husband want to put his hands on me, where he want to become aggressive towards me, when we have different arguments and everything. And I got to the point where I said, you know what, I need to tell someone. I need to mention this to somebody. So I had some trusted people that I talked to.
Wait, before I don't mean to cut you off,
Go ahead.
but before that, because we've had this discussion,
Right.
you was on eggshells
Right.
because when you're in an abusive relationship, the victim thinks if they do things a certain way, that everything will be okay.
Right.
But it's not. No matter what you did, I was still being abusive towards you.
Right.
Um, that's why I want you to get into some of the things, because I don't mind if people know.
Right.
Don't hold back, because you're holding back.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just a bit nervous just talking about this whole thing. Sometimes coming into this headspace again
Please.
put me in a different
Yeah.
way. But it was times where my husband slapped me. It was times where my husband choked me. It was times where he dragged me up the stairs one time, and
I broke my hand.
he broke his hand hitting the wall.
I kicked the TV in.
It's so many things happening that it become vague in my mind. And
I spit on you.
yeah, and I don't even remember that. And
In Bermuda, Frizzles Hill, bottom apartment.
right. And I was just totally just hurt by the whole process. I was just like, Lord, change my husband, change who he is, help me to get through this process. I even used to ask Pedro, like, why you doing this? Like, why you put me in this situation? So it took all the trust that I thought I had was gone. It was out the window. And I just decided, I was like, I can't handle this no more. I can't handle my husband. From the last time that it happened, I think I had my second child, and I was remembering us being in an apartment when we lived in Bermuda, and it actually got worse when I left home. When I left my family, it actually got worse when we moved away, and I wasn't around people that I knew. And once we got to Bermuda, the time that's coming through my mind right now, the time when Sky was in her baby seat. I remember my baby was in her baby seat, and we got into an argument, and he choked me, and I was like, I couldn't even breathe. And at that time, he went to work that day, and I left. I left, and I said, I can't do it no more. I left, and I left for a while, didn't I?
I honestly don't remember how long you left for, but I know you left
I know I left for a bit.
6 months to a year. I
Right.
can't remember exactly.
Hmm.
I'll be honest, I don't.
Oh,
You left all in total the first, remember, at 16 years.
right,
You've been here 4.5, 5.
right,
So those first 11 years, he probably left 8 times,
right.
7, 8, around there. Yeah.
The hardest part is to be married to someone that you love and they hurt you physically. That was the hard part. And for me, I was like, is it going to change? Is it going to get better? Can he get better? And through it all, I knew God kept saying, Tara, don't, God never hardened my heart towards my husband. He allowed me to still love him, even though things wasn't looking good
That's
or
not true.
wasn't going
I
good.
mean, no, God did help you, but you did fall out of love with me at one point. We had that conversation.
At one point, I fell out of love with you, but I still wanted to be with you.
Right. But I mean, you still fell out
Yeah, I
of
just
love
didn't
with
want to
me.
be in the
You
situation
didn't, right. That's what I
of
mean.
being
You
hurt.
fell out of love in the
Right,
sense of, if I was going to continue to do what I was
right.
doing, you was going to fall out of love with me. But you was on the way of
I was almost
falling.
there.
Yeah, you was really close to that stage in our
Yeah.
marriage.
Either way, whether I was close or not, God never got me to the point where He said, "Tara, just go, just leave." And the time that I was away, I had a lot of time to think, pray, and meditate, and ask God to. I just kept praying for him. I was like, Lord, help him to be the husband he needs to be for me, and the father he needs to be for my children. So that's not something I wanted to display to them. I had told him, I said, I'm not going to let my son and my daughter, at the time, we only had 2 children together. I told her I'm not going to allow them to grow up in a home where they see their father be abusive towards me, because I knew it was not going to help them as they got older, and it definitely wasn't going to help our marriage to continue on that way. So the time of separation that we needed was needed for me, and I think it was also needed for Pedro. And I said the only way I come back to this marriage is that you get some help, and that you truly get some help, and pray and ask God to get you through this. And I had to be away while all of that was happening.
No, actually, not to, you forget that you was actually in Bermuda when we had this conversation. You was
Mhm.
going to leave, and I said to you, "Okay, I need to get help."
Right.
And I said, "Who can? I'll call somebody." And he was like, "Who can we call?" Because Bermuda is such a small community, we didn't want to just go and just put our business out there.
Right.
Because, like I said, this was all happening while we was in church.
Right.
Sabbath mornings, we was having fights, and I was doing things to you, and then you
Mhm.
had to go up there, like we talked about. You had to go up there and sing after just having a nasty fight with me earlier.
Mhm.
Um, and then um, just anything. We just it seemed like the fights. The devil knows how to manipulate things,
Right. He
and it
definitely
seemed
does.
like the fights used to always happen.
Around the time I needed to do
Do something
right.
for God's will,
Mhm.
and even and I'm not getting graphic here, but even when we had what's the word coitus, or even when we were together intimately,
Right.
we seemed to have fights after that. I
Mhm.
don't know if you remember that.
I don't. I really
I
don't.
remember
A lot
that
of things is kind of
we would have some of our worst fights after we was intimate with each other,
mhm.
and then for some reason something would just pop off. Like maybe it was um connecting us, and then the devil's like, mm-mm. So then he would just put something there,
Mhm.
like because at that time I was in a real bad place, and I was not only was I being abusive, I was
You just
hiding things.
angry all the
I
time.
was angry all the time, but not just that, I was hiding stuff from you.
Mhm.
I was hiding stuff, and then all of a sudden it'll pop up out the blue. You want to know nothing about it, but then all of a sudden you'll find out, and that will start the argument,
You'll start the
and then I'll
argument.
be abusive again towards you.
Mhm.
You know, and this was going on from New York. This part of the reason why I believe I know.
It's a part of the reason why I didn't like New York too.
Yeah, I understand that. Um, that's why I got deported
Mhm.
because of my temper and my abusive state that I was in.
Right.
Because even, as we was talking about the signs, even when we was married and I was driving for work, you would call me because and we talked about this.
Mhm.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just want
No
to give
worries.
you a brief,
Mhm.
and as I said, you was not immature. You was mature for your age,
Right.
but you was immature for the relationship that we was in.
Especially coming into a
Right,
marriage
coming
where you've
into a
been married
marriage where I've been married
before and you was
and
9 years
had
older than me.
children, and I'm
Right.
not right. And I think that's why your parents didn't want you to marry me.
Right.
Um, and then I think because of the immaturity for the relationship, you every little thing just scared you. And even if I showed you that I was doing it,
And not all the
you
time you
would
did.
no, because I still messed up
Right.
because my abuse started before I even got with you. I was already abusive before I met you, as I've learned after
Right.
talking, after you and I have had conversations, after praying with God and things. I was already abusive before I met you. My abuse started in my other marriage,
Right.
and I just carried it over. I kind of shunned it away, but I just carried it over into our relationship. So, like I told you, that's where I was wrong because even no matter what you did that I did not like, no matter what you may have said, no matter what you may have even insinuated sometimes, that didn't give me a right to be abusive towards you. But I was. And they say, you know, um, I'm a sinner saved by grace, and I am an abuser. But now the difference is that I know how to handle myself differently, where I don't have those thoughts that I used to have back then. And um, when like I said, it was going on for a long time, that makes sense for New York because that's when he used to call me. We'd be having those arguments on the phone. I'd be in the van with my coworker. My coworker just sitting there like, dude, calm down, it's all right. and I'm just, thinking, and I'll be honest, I was cursing and thinking and all of that. I was just off my rocker and hanging up, and then you'll call me back and we start arguing again, and we was just going at I was just going at it a lot, and nobody, and I don't know if anybody knew, but nobody approached us about it.
Right.
But it was like we was really, I don't know if your family knew something when because you was always coming back home, so I don't know if they never said nothing to us. I don't know if they ever said anything to you. I don't
I
think you
didn't know how to I didn't know how to talk to anyone about it.
Well,
Bec-
you didn't want them to think of me as a bad person. That's the one thing I commend you on, is through all the stuff I put you through all the things that I did to you of my own fault. You never once tried to badmouth me. You was always thinking about me. That's the weird thing. You wouldn't tell nobody about nothing. You would hold it in because you didn't want nobody to know what was going on, because you didn't want it to look bad on me. It wasn't really even that you wanted to look bad on you. You wanted to make sure it didn't look bad on me. And um,
I just kept praying and asking God to change who you was.
yeah, we was actually, the thing was, we were still both praying about this, but because I was being selfish and stubborn and pigheaded, I would be good for a little while, and then I would go back to my old ways,
Yeah.
and then I would be abusive again. And looking back, it was a long string of abuse throughout the throughout the time. We had this discussion, um, that um, and this is not me making excuses. I was definitely abused as a child, and I saw abuse throughout my life, and that doesn't mean that should have, it does affect you. And that's why they say when children see things, it does affect them, because I can remember things from when I was younger
Right.
up to today. And then I um, carry that over, where I just thought that I I was not being a man, and I was not sure as heck not being a husband. I was sure as heck not being a father, and I was just thinking of myself. I was becoming I was controlling. I was becoming possessive. I was I don't As I told you before, the abuse sometimes I did because I was trying to show you. It was weird.
I always
I
I
was
always
trying to
had a
show
feeling
you.
that you wanted me to you just trying to find ways for me to leave.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to show you that I could be that man you wanted me to be, but then you was so hurt.
I
See,
was
I
so
didn't
hurt
realize.
because I was like, how can you be
Yeah,
that
I know. I'm
man?
saying I understand. That's what I we
Right.
know that now, like now, but back then I wasn't thinking that way.
Right.
So I was like, I'm showing you that I'm changing, but you're not accepting it. And then it would actually make me mad. And then I would become abusive
Hmm.
and blame you. It's your fault. You're the reason why I did this. You're the reason why I did that. It's if you didn't do this, or if you didn't say that, I wouldn't have did this. I wouldn't have reacted that way. And, you
And at
know,
some point, I actually started blaming myself because I was like, well, maybe if I
mhm,
don't say this or if I don't say that to him, this won't happen. Or if I won't, do this, he won't go off on me.
yeah.
You know what I
And it
mean?
didn't work.
And
I'll
it
be
didn't
honest, it
work.
didn't
It
work.
don't matter how, it just seemed like no matter how soft I tried to speak to you
Well, I think because when you're an abuser, as I was, as I am,
as you was.
no, I'll always, they say when you are something, you are that. It's just what you learn how to not be that way anymore. If that's whatever you was when you was 10 or 15 or 20, God can change you, but it still doesn't make you not you can always go back to that, because the devil is such a strong entity
But I
that he
thank
can
God
think.
that
But no,
we in a
no, let
better
me finish.
space.
No, I'm not. My point is that as people, as humans with sin, when we are something, you will stay that, but you learn how to control it through God's help. And through God's help, He has taught me how to be better towards you and my kids and myself. More than anything else, myself, so that I could be a better person for you and the kids.
I was just happy when I
But
came back and I
I
made the
don't,
decision to come back. And I said, well, I don't know if he has really changed if I don't come back.
right.
I don't know, so I was like, should I give it a try or should I not? And when you asked me to come back, I really pondered on it. I was like, Lord, should I do this? And I didn't want it to do it for my children because I know my children was just an extension of our union. I really wanted it to be because I love him and I wanted to be a wife to him. And
Well, I would say this. I definitely believe that's the truth when you say that, only because of what we had the discussion before in our previous podcast.
right,
When I got deported and I moved to Bermuda, there was your chance to get away,
it was.
and you did not. You still came anyway. So you didn't come.
I
You
had a
did not.
chance to
You
say
did not come. You did not come because of Pedro, because he was about a
nine
year. He
months
was a
old.
year.
9 months old,
He
yeah.
was a year
Oh, right, yeah,
because it was not 8 or 9 when I got locked up.
right,
So he was little, just turned. He had his year birthday in Alabama, so he was a
right.
little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came, you could have stayed then. So just for people to know, she is telling the truth on that, because she could easily have stopped then.
I had a
But
decision then to say
you was definitely coming because you wanted our marriage to work.
I did, and I just knew that you wasn't the person that you was displaying to me. And because I felt it in my heart. I said this is not Pedro. And I said I know if I keep praying for my husband, I keep praying for my marriage, and every single night I promise you I pray, Lord, change my husband to be the husband he needs to be for me. And I knew I couldn't make him do it. I knew it's something that he had to change spiritually, and he had to want to change. And it wasn't until um, I spoke to someone about it, and when we spoke to them, you took responsibility for your action. That was the first time you ever said, I did this and I take responsibility for doing this to you.
Mhm.
And that from that day,
But it didn't end there though.
no, it didn't end there. No. But that was the first time you took responsibility. This is the first time you didn't blame
Acknowledged,
me,
right?
acknowledged that you said, yes,
Yeah.
that's me.
It was a
That's what I
step. It was
did.
a first step in a process that took time, but
Right.
it definitely did help,
Hmm.
because there was other factors that didn't end up happening that really like snap me into place, I guess you could say.
Right. And I just now looking back on how things was versus how things is now, I'm like, thank you, God. I promise you that. I mean, it's just like every day I see Pedro as a different husband. If we versus if we had an argument back then, how it used to end up and how things used to happen,
I think we're jumping the gun a little bit,
it's
because we still need to talk about it, in the
yeah,
sense of that's the ending of it, but we
right.
need to talk about um well, I get a little background. um like I said, yeah, I definitely know my abusiveness. So sometimes I wanted you, not that I didn't love you, but I wasn't showing that I didn't love you.
Mm-mm.
So I did not love you because I was being abusive, but I was doing it sometimes to get you to leave, because I was just so in myself, and I was so mad with the world in general, just everything. I think I was just mad.
And I just couldn't
I was
understand
just
why you
mad.
were so
Well,
angry.
because I'm a man, and I don't. Let me rephrase that. Yes, I'm a man. I was upset of being deported. I was upset about being in Bermuda. I was upset of the support that I got and did not get or receive. Because I was told, "Oh, it's nothing here. You don't need to come back." I wasn't. Thankfully, I had family members that helped us to do the process. Um, and then, like I said, I was already broken before I got with you, and that in itself was my biggest and most regretful mistake that I did. And I don't regret a lot of things, but I do regret that I was broken severely before I met you. And it's no fault of my ex or any of that stuff because it's still on me. It's still my um, responsibility to fix that. And I will say this: that's why, as men, when you are going through things and you're going through problems, we was listening to a pastor earlier on Facebook, and he reiterated
Iterated.
right what I've always said is that if you go for counseling, you should go by yourself.
Hmm.
Don't ever go as a couple because it never turns out good because it just doesn't. And in the weird thing when he said that to me, I looked at you and I said we was both being abusive towards each other.
Talking about your ex-wife.
Yeah, my ex-wife. I was being abusive towards her. She was being abusive towards me.
Right.
Different ways, but different things.
Right.
But she had broke me down so much that when I got with you, even though I was no longer with her, she still had me, even though she was in New York and I was in Alabama,
Right.
that string was still attached. You know, and a lot of things that I did, you know, was based on that. I, you know, to see my children or something was used against me. And like that's what we actually did. I actually broke up with you once. As many times you broke up with me, I actually broke up with you and I said I gotta go back to New York.
Hmm.
And I left. Well, actually my aunt passed, so then I ended up leaving anyway.
Right.
But to your credit, you still came to New York. To your credit. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why when people say to me, you know, when people say to me, you know, your wife, and I'm like, it's my wife for 16 years, and I don't care what is going on in our life. You're my ride or die queen. You are the most persistent person I know that's always been by my side, has always stuck up for me. And like I said earlier, when you even through the weird, even through I'm abusing you, and you're still concerned about how it looks on me, and I'm the one that's harming you all the time and not caring about it. But you're still worried about how it looks on me. And I just I know when God put you in my life that was the best thing that ever happened.
I just knew I
And
wasn't gonna give up on you.
I know that yes, I know, and I know that people are gonna say, well, man, you did all those bad things to her though. And yeah, but you know, and we've worked through that and we're still working
We're
through it.
still working through
We're
it.
still working through it. Yes, we're still working through it. Um, we've come a very long way.
A very long
But
way.
I know that God put you in my life for a reason because I just don't know where the road I would have went if you wasn't put into my life. And like I said, you know, it was just so it was just so, you know, so vicious some of the things that was done. And, you know, I to the point that I don't remember half of it. You tell me things and I'm like, I did that. You're like, yeah. And I'm like, really? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't remember that. It's like I don't know if I just blocked it out or I just don't I just don't think about it.
Right.
But um I just want to commend you as a woman because you definitely the things I put you through, you definitely still God worked a miracle through you because he still was able to reach me.
I just thank
And
God for changing your life,
yeah,
and you allowing God to do that.
yeah.
You
Well, it
know.
was I think things happen. Um there was a point in our marriage where we actually was getting back on the road of recovery.
Hmm.
And just like I said, when you start, it's like when you get baptized, the devil comes at you so hard. We were starting to get back to that level of forgiveness and level of
It took me a long
thing.
time, even when we got back together, to
Yeah,
forgive you.
I know that, but no,
Right.
but I mean, you know, we was at that point where we was working it out, and then when we did it, then a situation happened with you, and we was like, wow, and we just went like, okay. And I think that's when it hit me that I could lose you. And I was like, okay, I need to work. I need to work harder, because I thought I was already working hard. But
Right.
even though I was, like I said, the devil's always busy, and he saw that he saw what we could become. So he said, okay, I'm gonna throw this little wrench in there, and and by the way, this was not an abusive thing. This was totally just life,
Right.
and it just made me realize, like, man, like, okay, I really need to step up. And then, like you said, we start talk. I called and we met with somebody, and we sat down, and that was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do. Because,
I
like you
knew it
said, for the
was.
first time, I had to admit that I was wrong. That was my fault,
And you never done that.
and I never did that. I always blamed you, and even then, I think I was still blaming you some. And they was like, no, 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 you cannot, no, don't do that. No, it's all on you. Doesn't matter. It's all on you. And then we started
I
to
even
have,
got to the point where I wasn't even being intimate with you anymore.
yeah, because
I
you
said
right.
I can't be intimate with you anymore because I just couldn't do it. I was like,
I don't know how to say this. How can I say this? I'm not saying I'm proud of this. I was abusive, and I was definitely abusive towards you physically, but I never raped you.
no,
And I just point that I never made you do anything without your consent.
right.
We would get into fights sometimes and then be intimate. And I think sometimes it was just a pity party for me because you felt bad for me. Um, I could tell, but I never like forced you. It was like, come here and thing. I know that for
Right.
a fact.
Right.
I've really been racking my brain because I know there was so much abuse that I was really trying to sit and think, is there times when if I ever did that? Because we've been having
No,
to, yeah,
you never did that. You
right,
never did
because
that.
because we were
Because
last
if I
time,
didn't want to do something, I just didn't do it.
right,
And I was trying to figure out my feelings for you.
right,
I was like, I'm trying to love him, but the love language you were showing me was different than what I was giving you back.
hmm,
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a nurturing wife in a way towards you, trying to show you that I love you. I'm here for you. But then at the same time, I felt like I felt that like it was the devil, like the devil was against me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And you had a funny way of showing me how you love me. But then at some point I had to it took a lot of I lost a lot of trust.
I know.
I lost a lot of trust for you. It took me a long time. So
It wasn't just a trust.
every
It
time
was
we
just
talked about
it was
something, I
the
was like,
fear. It was the fear that I put into you.
right. You put a
Because
lot
for
of fear in me.
years,
Because even though you tell me something, I'd be like, okay, I didn't believe you.
mm-mm, yeah, it took me, and I think that was actually a good thing, believe it or not. And I'll tell you why.
Why is that?
Because it made me open up to you more and to be more honest with you. Because I knew if I lied to you and then you caught me, it would look worse than if I was just honest with you. So it made me just say, okay, I need to be honest with you and tell you this is how I feel, or this is what I did,
That's
instead
all
of
I
you
ever
find
wanted.
right, so that you would not find out.
Right.
So I had to be honest with you and say, okay, this is what I did, this is what I didn't do, this is the reasoning. And then you still didn't believe me. But then as you start to see it happening more, and I think more than anything else, my temperament had to change.
I know for one thing, when I decided to come back, I was like, Lord, I don't know if my husband's going to put his hands on me again, but I'm hoping that He doesn't. I'm hoping that I'm able to see a different Pedro. And my heart was really going out for you because I was like, I wanted to love you like God loves us. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Regardless of the wrong that you was giving me, I still saw a different you.
Oh, let's point this out too, because you don't remember this, but another thing we learned, our children,
Mm,
it really affected our, especially Bryson. I'm about Bryce. I'm sorry, especially our two oldest, the boy and the girl, Junior and Sky, because it got to the point that even if we got into an argument, now the kids never, they was too little when they to see the abuse,
right.
and then we was at the other stage when they was older where we would still have arguments,
Hmm.
and I would punch something, I would slam something,
Or throw something.
or throw something, and um, it was affecting them. Where as soon as we start arguing,
They'll start
they'll just
crying.
start crying. It wouldn't even. I mean, the tears would just start flowing like instantly, and we had to
I think I held
we
closer
didn't.
to them than I did to you. You know,
Yeah, you did.
I think I instead of giving my love to you, I was giving it all to them
Mhm.
because I was like, I need to. Now I'm in the protective mode. Now I need to protect my kids because I see now that you're not about protecting us if you treated me this way. So I left, not because I didn't want them to have a father in their life. I was trying to figure out a way to keep my children safe and myself. But then at the
So
same,
in other words, that's why you left the time when you said that you wanted to go look for work. It wasn't that you wanted to look for work; you wanted to get away
I did, and I needed it.
when you moved to Alabama.
Yeah, I needed it. I needed that time.
Okay, you actually just told me that you never said that before.
Yeah, I
That's the
needed it.
first time you just said that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I needed it because
that makes sense.
yeah,
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, because you never said that. You put every other excuse except for that.
because I didn't want to issue. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to fight. I didn't want something was just getting out of proportion. I just needed the time to think things through because I was preparing myself to be a single mother.
Hmm.
I was preparing myself. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna stay in this marriage because of no finance. I'm not fit to stay in this marriage because, you know, because of the children. I was just not gonna do it.
Yeah, I understand
And
that.
I was preparing myself. I was like, I didn't know what was ahead. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew I needed to go.
Yeah,
And I said, once you figure
but I
yourself
did
out,
let. And the thing was, I let you go every time.
you never forced me to
I never
stay.
forced you to stay.
Right.
I would plead with you not to leave,
You were plead with me not
beg
to
if you,
leave.
cry, pretty much almost like
But I
right,
promise you, it was just like
write it in
God.
blood. But
Right. It was just like God said, Tara, it's time to go. And I left. He said it's time to leave is putting the effect of separation. But he never told me to divorce you. He never told me to do that. And that's why I was like, I'm not going to give up on my marriage. I'm not going to give up on you. I was just like, Pedro, get some help.
let me ask you this question: through the abuse, if I didn't help you when you left, would that made it easier to leave me, or that me helping you see the good in me, even though I was doing so much bad to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Even though
Okay,
helping
let
me
me
in
put
the
it this way.
somebody helping me in the financial way when I
No,
left.
not just like setting you up. Like every
Right.
time you left, I made sure we made sure that
You made sure I have
we made sure
everything.
we had a place, a
Right.
car,
Mm-hmm.
schooling,
Right.
everything was
Mm-hmm.
on point. Everything was already set up.
Right.
We had got the kids into Oakwood Academy, um, and things like that. You know, we had that all set up and everything paid for and all ready to
But you
go.
know, even though
No,
I
but
didn't
my
care.
question is, if I did not do that, if you just left and then I didn't contact you or tried to be there for you, would that make it easier to leave?
Yeah.
And my
Because I
point is that
wouldn't,
me by
because I
doing
would
by
have
me,
known, because I would have known that you wanted to try.
okay.
You get what I'm
So yeah,
saying?
because even I'm saying even though I was being abusive towards you, I was still trying. I was just going through something on my side that
Right.
I was taking it out on you, but I still cared about you. I was still trying to take care of you. I just
Right.
didn't know how to show you the right
You
way.
didn't know how to show that when we was together.
Right.
When we was physically together. When we was away from each other, it seemed like I didn't have to worry about you hurting me.
That's a weird thing that you say that, because I was thinking about this. And even now to this day, we still do it, but it works better now. Sometimes we get into an argument
Hmm.
and it gets heated,
Right.
and I just walk away,
Which you never done
which I didn't do before.
in the past. Yeah.
Like, I'll follow you. Like, you're not talking. I'm gonna make you talk.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk. And I'll just make you talk. I'm trying to make you, still didn't make you talk. I'll try to make you talk, I should
Right.
say.
Hmm.
But then I'll leave, get in the car, go for a drive, or just go out for a walk.
Right.
And it's weird. We would then call each other on the phone, and we actually hash it out on the phone. And then when we came back in each other's presence, then we would have another conversation about what we had on the phone, and we were able to work it out that way.
Right.
It seemed like we was doing that when the abuse was happening and you was away.
Hmm.
So because I wasn't in arm's reach, I was almost like hoodwinking you. Does that make sense? I was kind of like tricking you a little bit, because I would say, say a good game, say all the right things.
Hmm.
Then you would come back, and then I'll still be abusive,
Right.
And I know I was doing that to you, and I know I was wrong. I knew I was totally wrong for that, but I just want to point out, it just hit me just now
Right.
that that's what I was doing, because I'm learning as I go along. I'm still learning things about our relationship and the past, and then I'm thinking, oh man, that's what I was thinking, and that's what she was thinking, and that's why this happened, that's why that happened.
I just
So do you think that was part of it? Because like, while you was away, we seemed to get along better on the phone than we did at some point in our marriage. We seemed to get along better on the phone than we did in person.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
But now where we are now, I don't have that fear anymore.
Right.
I'm not.
I'm talking about what we was doing in the past.
Right.
We're on the past right now, just talking about the abuse that was happening,
Right.
the things I did to you. We haven't really even touched a lot of the things that happened, but I know I was just an abusive husband,
Hmm.
and we hid it so well from people, from even close friends, and we didn't even talk about. We went, we saw a couple of people, we saw a couple of professionals, and then we had a couple of friends,
Close friends. Yeah.
close friends, that really helped us through this stage of our marriage.
Hmm.
That um
And I must say, having close friends that helped me through the process, that I was able to call on any time of the day, that helped me.
mhm,
When you're going through something like this, you need people that you can trust.
yeah.
And I had some really good friends that I can count on even to this day. And I thank God for it, because they have also seen us grow to where we are now.
Mhm.
And
They know how we was, and they see what we are now
right.
as a
And
couple.
and I thank God every single day that we at a different space. That my husband is a different person. That I had to fall back in love with you again.
Mhm.
You know what I
As
mean?
me too,
I,
because I
I
was not in love. I can't love you can't love somebody and be abusive towards them.
mhm,
So I had to learn to love, respect you, value your opinion, make you a part of make you a part of me, um, confide in you, make you um, appreciate you for what you had done and the things that you were doing, and then to show that appreciation, because nobody's perfect in this world.
no, and I'm not either.
And I had to understand that you're my wife, you're my queen, and I have to treat you that way. I can't treat you like you're common folk or like you're nobody. You're my wife. You're supposed to be right by my side. And like I said, do all in all, you was still by my side. Even though, yeah, you left, but you was always by my side. And you would always protect me. You would always say, you wouldn't tell nobody. I'm not going to tell nobody. I'm not going to tell my family. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to just, do the things that I know. You just stuck by me throughout the whole thing, pretty much. And that's why I said that's why I commend you so much. And I tell people all the time, and I'm saying it again, like that. I appreciate you for that, because a lot of the lesser woman would have been up and out of here, but you definitely saw the good in me. You just was like, okay, I'm gonna just keep sticking with it, and I'm just gonna keep pushing through, and it definitely made a difference and stuff in our marriage.
And I'm just so glad that we had a different place.
Yeah.
I see you now, and I'm so happy to see you when you walk through the door.
Mm-hmm. Yes, before you would be like, nope, I'm not even gonna. You wouldn't even acknowledge me sometimes. I'll just walk in, the kids will say, hi, daddy. You'd be like, you just nod your head or something. Not even do that sometimes.
I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because I'm happy where we are now.
Because God has brought us a long way. I had to learn that being a man, you're not a man because you can overpower somebody. Being a man is being able to be what's the word? Vulnerable to other things in life. Being a man is learning to be open, and you don't have to be hard and just selfish. Is to be giving and loving and caring. And just because you have a difference of opinion with somebody, with your wife or with your spouse, and this goes for even women, because women abuse men too, because I've been abused that way, and I've learned that even still, I don't hold no ill grudges or ill towards anybody. And I know that you don't hold no ill towards me.
I don't.
It took a long time for you to.
It took me a long time because I used to always say, if you didn't do this to me or you didn't do that to me.
Or even worse, if we got into an argument, and if I just used to raise my voice, that would bring you back to you remember that?
Yeah.
That would bring you back to that place.
I shut down.
You were shut down instantly. And then I learned that I have to talk differently. That made me like I said, it's weird. And I even last night we was talking, and I said it's funny. And he was like, it's not funny. And I said, that's not what I mean. Like you just said you're crying because you're happy. So when I say it's funny, I'm laughing to myself. That's just the word I use for laughing.
Right.
It's funny to myself.
Right.
Because the things you was doing was helping me to realize what I was doing wrong. And then I realized I had to do it differently. So instead of yelling right off the back, I had to learn to be calm. And God helped me with that. He helped me with my temperament. He helped me with my anger, because I definitely had anger issues.
Definitely.
Because to be fair, I was being abusive towards you, but I was being mean to everybody. There's only a few people I was not being mean to, because they probably was a little bit more angry than I was, and I could deal with. And that's maybe where I got along with them. But they'll, tell me off, and I just look at them like, okay, what you want me to do? Like, and I think that used to make you mad, because she was like, how is it that but you're just being like this towards me?
You treating people better than you was treating me.
Yeah, and I was, but like I said, it just made me understand that I needed to do things differently. God was talking to me, Pedro, if you're gonna do this, you need to be calm. If you're gonna do that, you need to say it this way. Don't say it this. Don't like have to learn trigger words. Don't say whatever.
Right.
Don't call you man because you hated that.
I hated that.
And don't just don't say nothing negative. Like don't call you stupid.
Right.
Don't call you idiot. Don't even if I said it, you're acting stupid.
Right.
You're acting silly. That I learned that those are sentences that as a man I should not be telling my wife. You know, I can say instead of saying that, I can say, listen, you've been a little irrational. You're not thinking, you're not take the emotion out. Let's sit and think about this first.
Right.
See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
See how it looks. It sounds different.
Right.
You know, I'm not calling you that because when I say it that way, it makes you feel a certain way.
Right.
So I have to learn that when I talk to you, the way I say things to you would help you in your response to me.
It'll help
then,
me see that you
right,
really trying to change to be
right,
a different person.
And then you started to see that because you started to slowly but surely, because it took a while.
It took a long time.
It took a while, years. This wasn't like it happened in 2 3
It didn't
months.
happen overnight.
No, it wasn't even 2 3 months. This took
Years.
Yeah, where you then realize like, oh wait, you know, and I wouldn't even say nothing to you.
It wasn't until one day I didn't think about it no more. At one point in our marriage, I always thought about the abuse and what you did and just the different acts that was displayed. And one day I totally just wasn't thinking about it no more. And that's when I knew God was taking me to a different space.
And for me,
I didn't look at you and was like, oh, he used to do this to me. Now I don't have those thoughts.
To be fair, I still, even when we was going through the process, there were still times where I thought like I could just choke her. I'll be honest. And that's what I mean by I'm still an abuser. I'm just saved by grace now. God is helping me to be better at what I do. And it's helping me to understand myself better. If I understand myself better, I can then be better for God and then for you and the kids.
Right.
And you know, there's times when I'd be like, you know, I could just, and then it'll be over with. But I don't have those thoughts anymore. It's just more like, you know, you irritate me because you're emotional and you admit that. But like I said, that doesn't
always have been. Yeah.
No. And I'm saying this because I say it that way because you are emotional.
Right.
You admit that.
Right.
But just because you're emotional, I've learned how to deal when you're being emotional.
Right.
My way of dealing with it before was with force.
Right.
Where now I just deal with it more with a passive approach. And you
do it in a more loving way.
Yeah, do it in a more loving and calm way. And I just, you know, okay, look, I'll go over there. You stay right there.
Right.
And we'll come back and revisit.
Now we can have a conversation without things becoming physical.
Right.
We can talk to each other.
Or even becoming heated.
Yeah.
Where we're having like drag out conversations like at the top of our lungs.
Right.
Have the block hearing us. I mean, there was times when you're loud. I know the block used to hear us.
I'm sure they did.
And we don't. I'm proud to say that God has blessed us where we don't do that anymore. It's been years, but it took years to get to that point.
Yeah.
And you know, and
it took a lot of, you know, like one of the comments here, it took a lot of sacrifice in our marriage. And I wouldn't change the order that we are in now.
The sacrifice was more on your end.
Yeah.
You sacrificed a lot because first you left Alabama to go to New York. Then you left New York to go to Bermuda. And then you left Bermuda to go back to New York or back to Alabama. Then you left Alabama to come to the UK. Throughout this whole 16 years of marriage, the whole sacrifice has been you. You know, I didn't have to sacrifice anything. I mean, I'll be honest with you. You're the one that sacrificed it all. And that's why I love you so much for that. Because you sacrificed to be with me, to stick it out. And so for that, I'm appreciative because I know that that was a big sacrifice on your end, especially when you don't do well with change.
I don't.
And I made you change like 5, 6 times in your life.
It's just like God told me, stick it out. And, I I had to wait for the change in you. And I'm glad God showed me that,
Mhm.
and and I know God can change anything in any situation. And I knew he can change you. And I just kept praying every day, Lord, change my husband, change the way he think, change to who he is, just for himself. I wanted you to have a relationship with God because I know in order for you to do that, to have that with me, you needed that spiritual change.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
I wanted God to change me too. So I was asking God to change me and to make me better. But I was still fighting with God back and forth for a long time. And even though he was showing things to me, I would ignore them and still do what I wanted to do because I was being stubborn and selfish and being about myself. And I didn't care about you and the kids in that sense because I was going to do what I wanted to do.
right?
And then, I had to realize that I'm doing stuff here that's going to ruin my marriage. So I need to do better than what I'm doing. And a lot of prayer and meditation and just talking to people, talking to friends, talking to some professionals. Um, and I'm the and you know me, I'm not the type to talk to professionals. But when I say professionals, I don't mean exactly that they have to be like psychiatrists or a counselor or something. I'm just talking about people that are in the field that know. Um, Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
Yeah, I try to be transparent because I feel
Thank you, Ikano.
that um, when you're transparent with other people, you'll be surprised how many other people are going through the same things that you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised. Like when we first did that, our first podcast, we had a couple couples say to us, that's how my husband acts towards me, and that's how he acts towards, you'd be surprised what people are going through in life.
Right.
And I pushed for this to happen today. Because to be
I didn't.
honest,
I didn't want to speak on it.
Tara didn't want to speak on it. Tara was still fighting me on it. And we actually got into some heated debate about it. Not an argument, just a debate. Because like I said, we're in a different place now. God has blessed us to be in a different place. But I had to convince Tara. I had to really just keep pushing. I had to keep pushing Tara. Say that's what you just said, Denise. I said to Tara, I said, Tara, this is going to help somebody. And I just felt really impressed for us to talk about this because as we all know, especially over here in the UK, it was weird. I've been here 5 years, but I remember about during the World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
there was an ad thing campaign going on about domestic abuse. With the World Cup, like I guess if the team lost, the men were going home and beating their wives or the wives, their husbands. And I was really fascinated with that. I was like, wow. And then I thought, like, the holidays and everything, and with the pandemic, this has been a very stressful time for everybody. And and men and women, but mostly men, always fall under that umbrella of saying, well, I'm stressed, or you did that to me, you caused me to do it,
Right.
or I just, that's my way, that's how I love you. No, that's not how you love somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you care for somebody. And no matter how stressed I am, because if I'm stressed, this how Tara knows I'm stressed. I don't take my anger out on Tara anymore. I'll probably just stay up to 4 in the morning, thinking and just trying to figure out stuff. And then Ty will say, babe, you okay? You was up late. She knows when I'm stressed. She knows when I'm thinking of something or when I'm trying to work something out,
Right.
in my soul, in my spirit. Whereas before, I would just take that anger out on her. I've learned that my anger is not going to do any good. Me taking my anger out on my wife. My anger is what it is, but I have to learn to control it and control it and embrace it, and then talk to my wife about the anger so that maybe she can give me an idea or help me with that anger
Mm-hmm.
with the love that she gives me.
Right.
And God showed me that over the years that that's how I could help myself and help us. And I know that's why we're better for it today,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I know, like I said, we still, because we're all in vinegar. We still have our disagreements,
Yeah, we do.
and
Just like
and
any
I'm
other
gonna
normal.
say this, and I'm gonna say this. Ta still yells at me, but not in a bad way. And then she say, "I just elevated my voice," and I'm like, "No, you yelled." And then we laugh about it. It's weird. We'll actually laugh about it, and
Right.
and I yell too sometimes. Like when I don't want nobody to think that we're like totally um over this.
Right.
And that's why I said that I'm still an abuser. I know that, but I know now how not to be, how not to abuse my wife or abuse other things. And I learned through God and through him and through his help that I can be a better man to my kids. One thing I will say throughout this whole marriage and throughout this whole thing is that I think God has always helped me to be a good father, even when I was being abusive towards my wife. And I never once was like that towards my kids. And you can attest for that.
Yeah.
Um, but I want you to kind of talk about a little bit about what you like your feelings now and everything.
My
Because
feel my
I did cut you off. I'm sorry
No,
because
no
you was
problem.
going
My
on to that.
feelings now is that I'm able to we pray together.
Hmm.
We talk to each other. We have healthy conversations, and you know, I'm just glad that I don't have no fear in my house with my husband. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about how things used to be. You
Hmm.
know, it's just like God did a total 360 in that for me. You know what I mean? I used to hold on to it so much, to the fact that I had a hard time showing Pijo, or showing Pijo the love that I needed to show him. Now I'm like, I'm happy I'm at a different space where I'm able to do that for him,
Hmm.
you know, and and to just be good parents for our children, to focus on growing together even more with God, you know, and like I said before, I just thank God every day that I'm at a different space now in my mind where I can trust my husband. I can trust being around you. I can trust having conversations with you that it's
Well,
not
hey,
going to go
the funny, not to cut you
crazy.
off, but the funny thing is, I'm glad that God has given me that I can trust myself.
Mm. I used to always tell you, I was like, I knew you was going through a lot of hurt even back then in your, whatever you went through in your past, but I knew, and I always say, hurt people hurt people.
Oh, definitely. And I was
And
definitely hurting, but that doesn't. That's what I mean. That's what I regret. I should have fixed myself before I got with you because you didn't deserve any of the stuff I put you through. Not one single bit of it. And I know that I put you through a lot. And you know, yeah. So I know that it was just not good. But that's what I was saying by I'm just thankful that God has showed me that I can trust myself.
hmm
Because if I couldn't trust myself, we couldn't be together.
I know I wouldn't be with you right now. I'm talking about right now. If I
I
was
know.
still going through what I was going through with you in the past, we wouldn't be married today.
I understand.
And we definitely probably wouldn't even had a third child.
You may not even have Sky.
So I know that for a fact.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it ain't no way I'm putting myself through that again.
Nah, I wouldn't want you to go through that again. The hurt and the pain that I did was absolutely horrendous, and I know that I know that now, and I know it then, and I just want to express that so much for somebody that's out there going through this right now. Um, you know, you gotta. We're not gonna say to go get counseling because everybody's different.
I would say
But you pray
pray for
first,
your
yeah,
husband or your wife.
and
But
then.
a lot of people may change and a lot of people won't.
Well, let me say this:
Go ahead.
you can pray, and you can get help. You can
Hmm.
get to talk to somebody.
Right.
But when it all comes down to it, the onus is going to be on the person.
Hmm.
Don't stay in a relationship or marriage that's abusive for the sake,
Not just physical either.
right? For the sake of the children.
Hmm.
Um, some people say, "Well, Tara, you stayed even though he's being abusive towards you."
Right.
Um, every case is different. Um, God took us the long way around, but we got to where we're in the ending, but we're still he's still working on us every day.
Hmm.
But I would just say that,
Only because you was willing to take responsibility for your actions.
yes,
And you have to, the person that is doing an abusing have to take responsibility for their actions.
they do.
They have
Definitely.
to acknowledge they wrong.
That's true.
Period. It can't be a change if a person is not willing to acknowledge they wrong that they doing to the person.
That's true. That's absolutely true from the jump. And without that, it's not going to work. And then just take it day by day. But if you feel that your marriage or your relationship is so abusive that it's going to never get any better, then we would definitely say that you need to step away and remove yourself if you can.
Yeah, you're right. You
Yes,
can't
you
mess
can.
up.
That's right. That is accountability. Yes, you have to be accountable for yourself.
Hmm.
If you don't have, like, your word is your bond. Your word is your what you say. If you don't have anything else, that's what you have. And
Some people would say I'm weak for staying in a marriage that, but I don't feel weak at all. I feel that
no, you're
God.
strong.
Hmm.
You're stronger than
I
strong.
feel that.
You're stronger than anybody I know because through it all, you didn't let the devil. Because the devil is the one telling you. Um, well, let's put it this way: if we didn't stay together, we wouldn't have started this. We didn't even think it was a ministry. We just wanted it to be a podcast,
Right.
but we're trying to turn it into a ministry to help others.
Hmm.
And I never understand when people put acronyms. And um, God has blessed us to have all of this stuff here in the UK
Hmm.
that we're able to reach people all over the world and reach people and just tell them our life stories and tell them things about us
Hmm.
and just show that human beings have problems, people have problems,
Hmm.
nobody's perfect,
Nobody is.
and the things that you may be going through, we're going through it too, and we just want to show you that even though we're going through it, God can still bring you through to the light. God can still help you get to that point in your life where you could be happy, where
Right.
you could be glad, where you could be no longer sad. I know when we get to heaven, there'll be no sadness, no tears.
Hmm.
But God can get you there now too. He
Yep.
can get you to where you're happy with yourself. You're not blaming yourself for other things, for things that happened to you or things that you have done. God can get you there. You just have to let God lead you. You
Hmm.
have to find the people true friends that can help you,
Right.
that can support you, that could be there for you.
Right.
Even if you have to see a counselor, even if you have to see a psychiatrist
Or a Christian
or a
pastor.
pastor
Right.
or an elder, it doesn't matter. You need to get that in your life. You need to get that mentor,
The best
that
thing I did was
role
tell
model.
somebody. The best thing I did
Oh,
was tell somebody about it. At first, I was afraid to, but when I finally
yeah, I just
spoke up,
realized, I just remember something. You did tell somebody
mhm,
and they didn't quite understand how to handle it.
right,
I'll leave it at that.
right,
You did tell somebody from the beginning
right,
and it was not handled exactly the way you thought it should have been handled.
right,
But that's here and now. That's near. That's now. That's not.
right.
That's irrelevant now.
But when I did tell the next person I told, actually really helped us through it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. You was willing to tell more than one person.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't just tell one person. You told multiple people.
Right. And when you can find someone you can trust, anybody that's dealing with it, man or woman, find someone that you can trust. Find somebody that you can talk to about this. And if you have to get out and is no way of fixing it, then I would say get out. Don't
Yeah.
stay.
Don't stay because it's not gonna. It's not. Like I said, I'm an abuser now, but God has blessed me to know my weakness,
Mm-hmm.
to know my triggers, to know my points. If I know I'm getting real upset, and that's the other thing. God has helped me where when I get real mad now, I don't even get real mad now
Mm-hmm.
because I know when I feel it, I know to either remove myself or say, look, I need a minute and just step away. Or, and we have taught both of us where where I'm going to. So sometimes you will stop. You may not say something, to me.
Right.
But even still, the funny thing, you still have said stuff to me sometimes that normally would have triggered me.
Right.
But I said, you know what? You don't mean that. I'll tell you don't mean that.
Right.
You're just mad.
Right.
I never used to say that. I
No,
just
you
get
didn't.
mad and be abusive.
Mm-hmm.
But now I said, oh, you don't mean that. You just mad.
Right.
And I just laugh it off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only the testament of how much God has brought me at this point in my life to where I am now. But I'm just glad that he has helped me and helped us. Help me first to help us
Right.
to be the couple and the parents and the husband and the wife that he wants us to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I give all grace and honor to God
All glory.
for that, all glory
Mm-hmm.
for that, because that definitely was something that was not easy to. He pretty much broke me down
I know
to
I pray for
nothing.
God to change your heart. I said, Lord, because it's the heart that needed to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Lord, just change his heart. Please. I used to pray that prayer all the time. Like, Lord, please just change his heart. Let him see his ways. Let him see what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he definitely showed out.
We also want to say that there's also organizations that you can call. There's 800 numbers. We did look up some, but only in the UK, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there's
Thank you.
like,
Thank you, Cammy.
thank you, Cammy. I saw her comments, and thank you, Denise, for your comments too. I saw
For
yours.
everyone, for all of your comments.
For all your comments and for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you pretty much have a women's aid. They will help. They help. They have one for men's advice line
Mm-hmm.
for those men that need some advice or may need to have a better understanding of why they're feeling the way they're feeling,
Right.
and they just need to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have National Center for Domestic Violence, which is 0800-970-2070.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need help, if you need if you need anybody to talk to, and I tell all my friends this, I tell all my people that I know, if you ever need to talk, you can reach us at thegoddessministry@gmail.com. Again, it's the Goddard's Ministry at gmail.com.
Yes.
You can also, you can call me at 077
Mm-hmm.
19 386209. Or if it's in the US, it's plus 4477 19 386209. And I can help you get to, because like I said, I'm not a professional, but I can get you to
Someone that can.
someone. We've already talked to a pastor
Right.
who is willing to counsel if you need counseling,
Right.
or if you need help, or if you
Mm-hmm.
need to just talk to somebody and you don't want to talk to me or to Tara.
Right.
Um, and it'll be strictly say the word.
Confidential.
There we go. I can't say the word. And so if you just email us at, like I said, the Goddess Ministry at gmail.com.
Right.
The Goddess Ministry at gmail.com.
And also my cell phone number too, plus 44 77 077 564 661080. I just got used to my number, you know.
No, that wasn't it. It was, you gotta say it again. I don't even know it. It's plus 44
Mm-hmm.
7564
Mm-hmm.
661080.
Right.
That's the number.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll probably put it at the links of our YouTube page.
Right.
At the Goddess Ministry YouTube page.
Right.
We'll put our information there.
Right.
And put some other information if you need help or if you need assistance in anything. Just please, if you're going through this situation right now, please try to get help or get yourself to safety.
Right.
Also, for the men out there that are being abusive towards their wives, as I talked about on another show, man up. You don't have to do that to your wife. We have to treat our wives like the queens they are. They're not our property. They are not our possession. They are not our what we can do, anything we feel like. We have to treat them with the respect and the honor and the glory that they deserve. And if you have an issue or if you need to talk to somebody, like I said, you can give me a call, you can email us, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
Right.
I'll be happy to direct you in the right way to help you. But first, you have to admit that you have a problem.
Yeah.
First, you have to admit that you are an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
First, you have to admit that you need to make yourself better. Because one thing I can say is, if I didn't have my wife, I honestly don't know where I would be right now. And I know that for a fact. So I'm so glad she stuck through it with me, to all the bad and even the good sometimes that we had. But a lot of the bad, all the bad that we had, she stuck through it. And I'm just appreciative of my wife.
I love you.
I love you too, babe. So you wanted to say something more?
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
She hates when I say that. She hates when I ask that question. I just didn't know how to put it.
I just want to thank everyone for watching and coming on this platform with us as we talk about our testimony. I really feel like it's helping us. Don't you think, babe?
Oh, it's definitely helping us.
Yeah.
That's what I said to you. I said us doing this would not only maybe help somebody listening, but it would help us, because we don't talk about this anymore.
Right.
And it's good to talk about the past. I don't believe in talking about the past, but I think it's good to talk about the past, because that's how you heal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that I don't think I know that this definitely helped us today.
It did.
You're welcome, Denise. Thank you for listening.
Just thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
really
everyone.
do appreciate you.
Denise, Cammy, there's a couple people, right, that commented.
It was a lot of people on.
Yeah, but I just want to thank you all for Renisha.
Renisha was on.
Yeah, so we want to thank you all for Justina. My mom is on.
Mm-hmm. Frederica.
Yeah, Frederica. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom just probably heard stuff she never heard before. So I'll probably get a phone call after this. It's fine. No, I actually spoke to my mother beforehand,
Right.
because I wanted her to know what we was going to talk about.
Right.
And I don't like, we learned we don't need to side. What's the word?
Hide anything?
Not hide. No. We don't need to blindside anybody.
Right.
So we, full disclosure.
Right.
So we actually did speak to her before to let her know what we was going to talk about.
Right.
But yeah, I just want to thank you all again. Ikenna. Yeah. That's we forgot Ikenna.
Mhm.
Yeah, Big E. Just thank you so much for coming on, guys. And like I said, we hope you have a great week and a great what you call it again? Just a great week,
A
a
blessed
great
week, yeah.
evening. Have a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go, we are going to pray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for getting us through this program that was so deep and dear to our heart, for allowing us to get through it in a timely manner. And we ask God that anybody that was listening or will be listening, that you can impress on them if they're in a dangerous or a situation that they need to get themselves out of, that you can provide that way or that need, that they can find their way to safety. Because right now they may not think that there's no way they can get out of it. We ask that God, that you will open up the doors and close the doors that need to be closed. We want to thank you, Lord, for our marriage, for allowing us to be able to put this out on a platform that maybe help somebody and definitely help us as we talk about it in the healing process and just the process of just making us better human beings to each other and to others. We ask that you be with everybody that was listening today. Watch over them, protect them, keep us all safe and sound throughout this week. And let us all have a good night's sleep. And we just want to say thank you, Lord, for your love and your mercy. Continue to bless us and watch over us until you come. For this I pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, this is Pedro.
And this is Tara.
And this is the God is Real and Raw podcast.
Y'all be blessed.
Be blessed. I've already pinned it, so I don't need to.